Well, Scott Bonin is a criminal defense attorney with partner Reed Smith in Washington. He joins us now. We know that the Justice Department is getting involved with this. It didn't really take long for this to happen, for them to take over the investigation into Alton Sterling's shooting. And Minnesota's governor has also asked the feds to investigate the shooting. So what does that mean? Where does this go from here?
Marina, thank you for having me. It means that these governments or these governors have gotten very smart about this. It means that both videos are quite disturbing and show really bad conduct or appear to be bad conduct on the part of the police officers and escalating events that in both cases they had control of. It shows that the governors don't have confidence in the state or local authorities to investigate it. They've learned from these prior shootings from prior jurisdictions, and that the DOJ has essentially unlimited resources to not only investigate, but to do forensics, to interview, to find witnesses, but more importantly, to come up with findings, possibly prosecute, and to assist the state in resolving these issues, including giving states money for better training of these police officers, because at the end of the day, that's really what could have saved the lives of these two young men.
Scott, we know that both men were armed. How will that play into the investigation?
Well, it's relevant, but it's not dispositive. The fact of the matter is, in both cases, if you look at the videos, the police had control of these suspects. They were in the process of arresting them, and they controlled the action. They controlled the death of these young men, and they controlled the arrest. The presence of the gun doesn't give the police license to kill, because they were both in control. They would have removed the weapons. They both were standing or sitting. At least in one case, the defendant announced, I not only have a weapon, but I have a license to carry it, and that I'm giving you my ID, and he was still shot. This simply makes no sense, and you're going to see the anger grow among not just the African-American community, but all communities, because on one hand, the police are there to protect and serve. Here, it looks like they were there to protect, but also kill, and that's what happened to these two young men. It needs to be deeply investigated.
Scott, it's rarely that officers get charged in shootings like this, actually get convicted. How do you see these two cases playing out, both in criminal and civil rights investigations?
Well, these will be dual and parallel proceedings. It's very difficult to prosecute successfully police officers. We know that. They have a reason for being there, and their intent usually isn't to kill, they will say, is to protect and to serve. It is to arrest. So they have a built-in reason for being there and no criminal intent. At the same time, you have two very powerful videos, and you have witnesses in these cases that will argue otherwise, but really demonstrate otherwise. And so I look for these cases to either be put into a grand jury or for the prosecutors, the federal prosecutors, issuing a report and issuing findings and directing either the prosecution or some other type of decision being made. Secondly, look for the civil lawsuits to flow, both at the federal level and state level. These jurisdictions will probably settle without any admission of guilt or blame, and then we'll leave it to both the civil justice system and the criminal justice system to deal with this conduct. Because what we don't know about these two individuals in the videos is what happened before. We know the police are there to de-escalate. It looks like they escalated it versus de-escalated it, but what was the interaction before? That'll also be relevant, probative, and material.
And the fact, Scott, that the girlfriend in the Castile case in Minnesota had a Facebook Live post, that she had this all captured on cell phone video. How does that impact the case and also in the court of public opinion?
Well, there's a lot of testimony in that video. It is an incredible video. Tragic, gut-wrenching, but incredible in the sense that we've never seen that live interaction before. You have her narrating it, you have her interacting with the police, and you have the police responding as to why they shot him. And then you have the witness and the police officer debating or disagreeing in regard to what happened before the video started streaming. That's powerful evidence and powerful testimony on both parts. All of that will be admissible, and the Department of Justice investigators will be interviewing not only the police officers, but also the witnesses. And remember, there's a 4-year-old daughter that's in the back car. Even if you don't believe this is criminally liable or the police acted in a criminal manner, they clearly acted irresponsibly. They have a police officer shooting 4 bullets into a vehicle with not only another witness there, an adult, but a 4-year-old daughter in the back seat. Whatever the case would be, they're in control of this situation, but firing 4 bullets into a vehicle with a child and another witness close up when the individual that is the target of their focus is not aggressive towards them makes simply no sense and has got to be considered reckless.
Criminal defense attorney Scott Bolden. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you for having me, Rena.